Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Millennium Dawn with me, Alpha Pi Omega, and Ukraine. So I'm starting a new session. I'm hoping to record 3 episodes today, but instead of preparing some information about Ukrainian history or industry or army, I would like to start off this session by asking a very important question, and I'm hoping that you will try to follow me through this little train of thought that I have, even if it might be a bit difficult. So I apologize in advance, and I'm open to discussing this in the comments if you have any questions. But what I am wondering about at this very point is, what the hell is Russia's endgame here? Do they even have an endgame? Or have this conflict just devolved into destroying everything you can? Now follow me here. When Russia announced the attack on Ukraine, and we've spoken about the reasons behind that, it was kind of clear what they're after. But did they really think, and that's my question, and I would be genuinely curious about this, did they really think that they would take over Ukraine without any resistance? Because it seems like they were kind of hoping that that's what happened. They send untrained soldiers they just pick them up from their basic training and send them to Ukraine in aged equipment, becoming a laughingstock of the world with their ineptitude. And they have pretty much gotten themselves in the situation where there is no way out for them. Now, what I mean by this is, what do they want to do now? Russia has started an all-out war on Ukraine, but instead of approaching this in any reasonable way or a modern way or any, I don't even know how to say this, like in any, I guess the word I'm looking for is intelligent way. They started bombing the civilian cities. There are hundreds of dead people now, civilians. Millions at this point are displaced. What do they want to achieve? Now, apart from the strategy of razing entire Ukraine to the ground, which they cannot do, there is nothing they can do now that would end this conflict in a victory for them. Because if they by any chance win this war and occupy Ukraine, how the hell do they plan to do that? With a population that is like 95% murderous towards anything Russian, the people will hate them for decades to come for what they're doing. They have already caused damages that the Ukrainian government estimated on roughly $250 billion. And they just keep on bombing cities. You know, there are videos on the internet, hundreds of them, of dead, civilians, children. They killed, I think the last number was 70 children already, and hundreds of civilians. What is the end game? Like, usually, and this has been, the Russian way since the Second World War, where they carpet bombed Germany. They raped and murdered people wherever they came, whether it's an allied or liberated nation, and it never worked for them. They tried the same thing in Afghanistan, just bombing civilians, hoping that they will break the morale of the country, and it just turned people against them, and eventually led to their downfall. Now, this is why the Allies, when they occupied Western Germany after World War II, were smart enough that they tried to be as well, what would be the opposite of intrusive, as non-intrusive, I guess, as possible, trying to get the population on their side, because they knew they will occupy that. They knew that they will be, seen as threat, so they did everything in their power to get those people on their side. Now imagine that Russia will occupy Ukraine. It would take millions of soldiers to keep it in line. There would be constant civil unrest, riots, partisan war. What is their endgame? And that's only speaking about there being an endgame at all. Because despite the vast expected Russian superiority, their army is, underfed, tired. They have old equipment, no modern weapons, and they're pretty much stuck. They took a bit of the north. They're trying to reach Kiev. They're shooting at it for a number of days. They tried a number of offensives. They all lost. They got to Kherson or Cherson, depending on your pronunciation, and they never advanced further. They were stopped here as well. And there are news coming from all around Ukraine of actually the Ukrainians being on the offensive. So this is a stalemate now, and they're trying to bomb the Ukrainian civilian population in hopes that it's going to break their morale. This is a doctrine that didn't work even during World War II. Let alone today. It's so bizarre to think that they still try to do that. Or are they willingly trying to cause so much damage as much damage as possible? I don't get it. I really don't get it, because this is bizarre. This is bizarre. It's either complete ineptitude, or they just changed their goal into wreaking as much havoc in Ukraine as possible before they're gonna go away. Now, this is mixed with another thing that I have noticed, and that's pretty interesting in its own right. And that is the fact that while there are literally hundreds of videos of captured Russian troops that are claiming they had no idea, cooperating with the Ukrainians, giving them their names, giving them their unit numbers and positions, there is no such videos, or I have not seen yet one such video from the other side. Not one Ukrainian soldier that was captured, if there even are those, have cooperated with the Russian troops or army, and not even one of them was thus used for propaganda. Now, how do I know that? Because if they did, they would be all over the media. Russians would definitely post it everywhere that they go. So it is pretty weird. Plus, the Russian paranoia and warmongering and the insanity of the Russian press is just going off the rails. They have started. They claim that Ukraine has been developing nuclear weapons. Today they started claiming that they already destroyed like 16 laboratories where the Ukrainians were developing biological weapons together with the United States of America, trying to develop smallpox and anthrax and stuff. It's going off the rails. They're claiming that the Ukrainians were bombing their own nuclear power plants because they wanted to blame the Russians for it. It's bizarre. It's just going off the rails, and it just shows that they are preparing their ground for, I don't know, maybe a complete withdrawal, or just, I don't get it. It's going to be interesting to see how this will develop in the upcoming days, because I clearly see this as a complete failure on the Russian side. If they were really expecting this war to go as smooth as their occupation of Crimea, they are idiotic, because they obviously didn't have a plan B. And that's the worst thing on this, because it is putting them really as the most inept, I guess strategically inept country in Europe. Now, I would like to hear your opinions about this. I know that I'm just spewing insults here, but it really is bizarre, because while they advanced pretty rapidly in the first days, they are now on a complete halt. There are logistical issues. They are, unable to advance, so they just resorted to all-out terror warfare, basically, I would call it. They're shooting at cities, they're bombing bakeries, stuff like that. It's really weird. So anyway, let me know what you think. I just, as I mentioned, the moment that I'm recording this is 7th of March. So I believe that this is going to come up maybe in 2 days, on the 9th or 10th. I'm not entirely sure. So it will be kind of interesting to see where the war has moved in that time. So please let me know. Please let me know if something came up, because you that's one thing that I kind of like about this. I'm basically making my own retrospective diary while talking to you, where I can spew my current ideas and the way how I understand this conflict. And so it's really interesting, because everything that Russia has tried failed. Because if this was just a scare tactic to scare Ukraine and the other countries from joining NATO, Finland is now pretty likely to join the NATO. Georgia asked to join the NATO, and I'm not sure, maybe Azerbaijan as well. There were a number of countries that actually asked for that. Moldova, if I'm not mistaken, asked for the association with NATO. Ukraine is now pretty likely to get the associate partnership with EU, which is, wait, I forgot the term in English. It is the association agreement. Yeah, so I'm saying that correctly. And that is a prerequisite for Ukraine joining EU, which might take 2 decades or something like that. But also, kind of interestingly, if you think about it in the long term, all the damage that the Russians are doing to Ukraine right now will eventually be repaired for European money, putting Ukraine deeper into the fold, and bringing European companies and money into Ukraine, which will start changing this country into a westernized, or westernized, that sounds so weird, but a true European country, hopefully battling the plaguing corruption and ineptitude of the government. So I'm really interested in seeing how this will be looked at in, say, 2 or 3 decades, because I think this might be a turning point for Ukraine's history and its association with the EU. Anyway, enough talk. Let's get to the game. We're working on the new national idea, which will give us a bit of political power, after which I guess we don't have... Oh no, actually we wanted to get the Nafta gas and Ukrat Nafta first, but then we really are going to start going after the NATO standards association agreement, and this is confirm non-box. I don't know if this one is exclusive with some other ones. But I would like to get maybe these 3 and then NATO membership action plan and see if that can happen. But I'm pretty sure that it might really bring us into a conflict with Russia. Now, as far as research goes, we are getting very close to getting the anti-tank guided missiles. We're working on the T-84. Our production is what's bothering me the most currently. But, we're building an extra factory here that I'm happy to have. Oh wow, nice, 0.09 billion. Okay, let's repay a bit more, because we might really be heading towards 0.1 billion every day, and that would be just amazing. But yeah, we need to increase our military production, because we don't have enough for everything. Now, we have 33 army experience though. Yeah, well, probably take some factories of the small arms eventually, as I mentioned, and we'll need to upgrade the anti-tank guided missiles soon, and also the anti-tank guided missiles or mounted ATGMs, to make sure that works correctly. I wanted to do one thing though, and I forgot what it was, and then I remembered and I forgot again. But it was something connected with... Oh yes, I wanted, because we have 33 army experience, I wanted to check if that is enough to modernize... Is it you? Yes, you. Because I remember that we wanted to modernize you. So I wanted to put in the self-propelled artillery, self-propelled air defense battery, and armored recon companies, which puts you at 14. And we wanted to put... No, that doesn't work. Okay, so instead if we put light infantry here, and engineering, yeah, that would work. But how does that distinguish you compared to, for example, Artilleryska Brigada? Okay, it distinguishes you against them. But it's exactly what we have here with the Prikorduni Zagin. So I'm pretty sure I wanted to make this one a bit differently. Was it supposed to be a bigger one? Heavy engineering company, self-prepared, armored recon, self-prepared artillery, and tank company. And another engineering battalion to increase the defense and HP, but it wouldn't do much else, would it? Well, this will clearly be a defensive unit. Now, if we did it like this, I would kind of like it, though it doesn't make much sense. Combat width would be 20, defense 72, soft attack 54, 64. How would it compare to the other units? 20. Yeah, you're much weaker than these guys. But you're not that much weaker than these guys. Still, you are weaker. So I would kind of like it if it made a bit more sense, you know. What if we went like this? What if we went with not engineering, sub-prepared, heavy engineering. Okay, it's 22. Supported artillery. We got enough for this, but nothing else. So if I wanted to add additional thing, for example, like this, that would be 30, 33, 36. Okay, we can do that. I don't know what to do with this unit, quite honestly. I remember I had a plan, but turns out that in my mind it changed over the last 2 days into pretty much recreating this. So it is, strictly speaking, possible to just switch them into that. And because I don't see a reason to spend all of this army experience on a unit that would be just a recreated unit that we already have. So what would be the point, really? I think there would be no point. Quite honestly, I think there would be no point. So let's just not do that. Let's use what we have and switch these guys into these. Because that way, at least we have a unit that will be useful, and we're going to save the army experience, and we can reform additional units. And I like that idea a bit more than just wasting my resources on creating a unit that doesn't have that much sense. Okay, you're in there. Yep, okay, just you. So let's switch you to pre-coordinates again. And we are going to delete that template. Just one here, right? Yeah, just you. So this is gonna create, unfortunately, a huge pressure on equipment. But I'm pretty sure that, yes, we can delete this one. We could also delete this one, which is pretty good. But I don't really like it, and we don't have any units using that, so... Well, let's not delete them. I mean, deleting those would be a bit dumb in our situation, so let's keep them in and see what we can do. Instead, let's look at something like the mechanized brigade, where we might... Oh, damn. Ah, okay, no. So the same one is not that bad. Wait, it's motorized. I want... Where is it? Is it armored infantry? Yeah, armored infantry. So if we added you there, it's 33, and with the tank, it's 37. And I could put an armored reconning company. I don't have enough for an engineering company now. Well, I could switch you to heavy engineering company and then add nothing, because this would be enough. Okay, so the mechanized brigade like this is actually pretty impressive. We have doubled their combat width, but their soft attack is up by 75. Their hard attack is actually up by 170, so it's more than doubled. Air attack by 3.1. Defense doubled. Breakthrough doubled. Armor not that much higher, but still higher. And piercing up by 3.4. Their organization is increased. HP is increased. Reconnaissance is increased. And suppression is also increased. But we don't really care about suppression. So let's do it. This is a good military reform, but just imagine what this is going to do to our equipment. I already cried just imagining that. Okay, so we finished the national idea called... where was it? Oh, here, new national idea. The Republic has been strengthened. It is time to devise a new national idea to precede our development. We must remain ever thoughtful of our people while we devise this new national idea. And that's it. No fascistic ideas or anything. Not cleansing the country. Not doing any of that. Instead, I think we're going to go with the constitutional reform. What would that be like? A constitution has some clauses in it that prevent the true exercise of freedom. The best way we can pursue this is by discussing with the people what they wish to see in our new reforms. It is time to make the Ukrainian government into a government for the people, made by the people. What would be the reduction of the state? The government has interfered far too much with the autonomy of the oblasts. We should push to allow the people to decide for themselves in their respective regions. It is not the job of the government to decide for the people what they wish. It is not the job of the government to decide for the people what they wish to see for the future. Damn, both of these actually have some merit, but I'm more of a centrist. So I think I'm going to go with the constitutional reform. I think this is actually... Though, if they wanted to join the EU is pretty much pushing decentralization, so let's go with the reduction of the state. And now that I unpause this, guys, I am really sorry about what you're gonna see, but this is gonna kill our resources. It won't? Are you sure about that? Okay, so we are just crying because of the CNC equipment. Really? We had that much in reserves? Or did you not? Wow, okay, so we rummaged through all of our old equipment and we found enough to actually reinforce all of our mechanized brigades. I'm honestly shocked. Though they're far from from what we expected. But this is mostly because all of these, we actually equipped them with stuff from 1960s and 1970s. So no wonder that they will feel a bit underwhelming. But the fact that we're able to field them at all is amazing. Oh, okay, we're missing some infantry fighting vehicles. And I expect that the number that we need to upgrade should climb much higher. Okay, it did, because we need now 69 to reinforce. And then it's going to show us the amount that we will need to completely, upgrade to get to the numbers that we need, which will be, and I'm not even kidding about that, probably hundreds. Okay, and the amount of small arms that we need to upgrade has also went up, because we have distributed more weapons. But, you know, the fact that we got these babies now reformed is making me super happy. What kind of tanks do you have? T-80s and T-72s. Yeah, okay, so the main battle tank will be very useful here. Those are just so old. Those are really the 70s and 80s. But we got them fielded now, so at least that's good. Slovenian elections, Western outlook. Okay, and we upgraded some of our units too, which is making them much more capable. Okay, so the infantry units and the mechanized brigades, or the heavy mechanized brigades to be precise, are now reformed. They just need to be re-equipped, but they're reformed. What we need to look at next will be the basic mechanized infantry. And then we're going to focus on the tanks, which are also going to be fun to play with. Setting their combat with is already wrong, but they have a really decent heart attack. But they would need a bit more armored infantry to be able to withstand the attack from the infantry. Okay, speeding things up again so that we can get to the next phase. Now, if you guys are paying enough attention, you will see that I'm saving up all of the political power so that we can remove the oligarchs and put in something else. Now, I'm really thinking that what this might be would probably be the small and medium businesses. I know that it sounds weird, but with all of the reforms and the boost to economy, especially if we can increase it from 2000 GBP to something reasonable in the upcoming episodes, I would be really happy if we could get that done. So unless another factory pops up somewhere, we will be okay soon and we'll be able to upgrade it. Though I don't really know what that's going to do for our economy, so let's just not get ahead of ourselves. Now, could we boost the building speed of, yes, arms industry stipends? We need slightly more money for that, which we get now. It's gonna boost our factory production by 25%. So we're looking at roughly half a year. We can wait half a year, can't we? Okay, the Humvees are really being stockpiled, which is nice. Now I believe most of those are still Zills. Yeah, 1,000 of those. So in case of any conflict or anything, we need to have a decent stockpile. I like that the APCs though are coming along nicely. Once we upgrade all of them, I'm gonna take one of these factories and put them into the IFVs, because those will be the next best thing. Now how's the... Sure, we can... yeah. We can start training you. This has the added value of... Wait, it's... yeah, shift. I always forget about which key you need to press to have that train only the ones that are necessary. But damn, look at how many of those need to be trained. That's going to give us quite a lot of daily experience. But what I wanted to say is that the next one that's going to come is this one, which I kind of like, not going to lie. The motorized infantry and the mechanized infantry actually is pretty good. So let's take a look at them. It's kind of interesting that they have the artillery battery, but we're gonna... oh, more foreigners killed. We're still going to add our usual companies. Okay, that's 35, and I think we could get... you would add additional reconnaissance, which is pretty good. Can we add anything here, like tank company? Well, +5, +6. How much would that change it? +5. Well, I'd rather have... Oh, we finished the ATGM. I'd rather have the heavy engineering company, self-propelled artillery, and self-propelled air defense battery here. And then the mechanized infantries right here. Motorized infantry, and it's too much. So if we switch this one, actually let's do it like this. No, motorized infantry. Like this, we're still having one extra here, which I could put like this. Yeah, this would be pretty damn balanced, considering costs 45, designed to pull off. So, but I like that. That would put our infantry, or the armored personnel carriers, we get 1.7 thousand of those, onto the field, which is something that we need to do. We need to take the equipment and put it in the field where it can do us at least some good. Right now it's sitting in the stockpiles, so I'm trying to find ways on how to make these work. Like, I'm not going to speak about the recon tanks that much though, but yeah, you get the point. Oh wow, wait, I forgot about the anti-tank guided missiles. Nice. So let's get the mounted ATGMs researched as well. And I believe I mentioned that we're going to add these guys into production, because they will be awesome. Now, considering that we're upping the amount of small arms that we need to get up and running, I think I'm just going to opt from taking away that factory and just waiting for this one to finish, because that makes more sense to me. One thing that I also want to mention is that once we actually repay all of this debt, I'm gonna start lowering the taxes, which will lower the tax cost and give us more civilian factories for production. And at this point, I think it is pretty clear to me that I have to start building one civilian and one military industry, alternating between them to make sure that we have enough production available to face Russia, if that is even possible. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to end this episode. I'm going to start the next one. I am still really scared on checking how many... Actually, that's not that bad. 1,682 ATGMs need to be upgraded. And it's not really bad. And we have only 18 skiffs in the reserve, meaning that... Yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. Okay, I'm much more calm now. I thought that there was a much bigger need for that at this point. So, good. We'll keep our units up to date. But again, one thing that you need to remember here is that this is the current strength of our unit. 141, 293. And this one is pretty good. 141, 293, and 237. And if you compare it to the max that we could get here, numbers are extremely different. 141, this one has 167. Well, actually, the max is 167 and we have 141. 344 heart attack, we have only 293 in this one. Breakthrough could be 240, we have 200. Defense could be 308, we get 237. Air attack could be 18.3, we get 16. That's actually not such a big difference, but we're much less capable than we could be. And we're bleeding out our supplies, so we need to increase our production so that there are thousands of pretty much up-to-date equipment ready to reinforce our units in case of a conflict. Otherwise, we are going to lose a ton of stuff and break down. And let me tell you, with these numbers, the casualties are going to be insane. Because while our defense is 240, our attack is 296 here. Which means that all of the casualties are going to be devastating to every unit that's going to be in the fighting. And it also puts quite a spotlight on the fact that we need to find ways how to increase our defense. Yeah, we need to.